Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 titled Meditate to Liberate. My name's Monica from Yogi with a Yoni. I'd just like to formally welcome you for being here today in the now present moment. And today essentially is going to be themed about three key questions, which I will be asking myself, trying out a little bit of a different format compared to the past episodes in the spirit of fostering growth and expansion and sowing some new seeds. I thought giving myself a little bit of a guideline to and prompts to follow might provide a little bit of an easier degree of flow and ease in, I guess, sharing my thoughts and views on meditation. And of course, these are my thoughts and views and what I've experienced over the past, I guess, decade of actively practicing meditation. So, what is meditation to me? I have some crib notes here just to stop the waffling and keep me a little bit more focused. So, for me, meditation is the ability to be fully present, aware, and conscious within the here now moment. And it's become a very empowering and liberating tool for me. For someone who is a generator and has a very creative mind and tons of thoughts, and I guess if I can use the word visions, like these constant pictures in my mind, it's become a really powerful tool for me to ground my energy, anchor my presence, and connect me to my physical body through my breath and through the connection of the sensations within my physical vessel. And I would say that it's definitely assisted in quietening that monkey mind and that mental chatter that can definitely be prevalent and running rampant. And it's also, without a doubt, fostered a far greater degree of connection to, dare I say, my higher self, but more importantly, the connection that I have to my body. And this in turn has really made me rise in love with my vessel, my body, my mind, and it's enabled me to trust it more, get to know it more, and honor how powerful and truly magnificently wondrous and cosmic our bodies are. And I would never have truly understand what this meant if I hadn't undergone and practiced meditation. We can always read about it and read these wonderful little social media prompts on what meditation is and all the benefits that it offers. But until one truly sits down for a period of time, and the longer one sits, the more one burns away any thoughts, impurities, and energies that need to be moved and shifted out of the physical body and vessel. But I'll touch on that in a little bit more detail, perhaps in the third question as we move through this. So yes, I guess that is what meditation is for me and what I've experienced it to be. And I have no doubt that with the preceding and the upcoming years and decades that are upon us, meditation is going to be the one thing and the catalyst that sets you apart and definitely gives you an edge in life. And as always, meditation is something that you can't cheat on. It's not like you can read a book about it and understand the theory and then you're set. It's something that you actively have to practice and embark on. And it's a micro habit which you have to foster, at least for me, on a day-to-day basis. In fact, meditation isn't just something that you do for 10 or 30 minutes or an hour of your day. It's perhaps that's how it started for me. You got to eat that elephant one piece at a time, or break things up into digestible parts. But meditation for me, and I remember a dear friend telling me this once, and as much as I understood what she said, I didn't quite viscerally understand what she meant. And she always used to tell me how meditation becomes a walking, breathing way of just living your life. Because the aim is for you to become so acutely aware of every single here now moment, second by second, minute by minute, and being fully present in every single experience and moment and tick of the talk of the clock, I guess, if I can use that term. So yes, what are some of the benefits of meditation? Okay, so this is when I went and I cheated a bit. Not cheated, I'll speak about it in a little bit more detail, and I guess draw reference to how this has impacted me in my life. But I have got a little bit of a cheat sheet here in terms of what are the measured benefits of meditation, so that some who feel meditation is really woo-woo and out there have an understanding that meditation is very much rooted and founded on a basis of science. In fact, the Buddha, who achieved enlightenment through a profound and beautiful meditation known as Vipassana, did so through a purely, I would say it's more scientific in nature than spiritual. And essentially that form of meditation is done and achieved through complete and utter observation of the body. That's it. Observing every sensation, becoming consciously aware of every moment, of every little niggle in the body, feeling how powerful the heart is beating, being able to influence how fast or how slow the heart begins to beat, just through observing the breath and observing the impact on the breath on the body, and observing the impact of the body on the breath. But perhaps a little bit more on Vipassana meditation when I share my personal experience with you in the next question. But for now, let's just chat about those benefits. So some of those benefits are, it's really an assistant to helping you reduce stress and anxiety. And when you initially start out, I would say that this benefit is actually quite a challenging one, because sitting your butt down, if we are talking about traditional meditation in the sense of us being present and just closing the eyes and stilling the mind and taking an opportunity to just be and feel, it can be quite stressful and it can be quite anxiety filled as well. So because you're suddenly forced literally to still yourself, you've now forced yourself to come face to face with what you're sensing in the body and hearing in the mind. And when you first start off, it can be very loud and it can feel very uncomfortable. But like everything, you don't just walk into a gym and on day one, you're bench pressing 50 kilograms and walking out with ripped biceps. Like everything, meditation is a muscle for the mind, and it requires continuous effort, continuous discipline, and a continuous routine which works best for you. It almost becomes a form of ritual or a practice that you really have to foster and commit to in order for you to start feeling the true benefits of it. Another powerful benefit is it improves your mood. Once again, these benefits, as like when you go to the gym, you really only start to see a little bit of the two-pack and then the 4-pack, 6-pack. And if you're fortunate and blessed enough and stick with it, maybe that 8-pack will start to reveal itself. But yes, that mood only does truly start to elevate, or I don't even want to use the word elevate, because I guess sometimes we go in with the preconceived expectation that meditation is going to get us to a heightened form of enlightenment and bliss, and we're going to be walking around as if we're just riding unicorns and on rainbows, and life is just one big tra-la-la. And the reality is that it's not that. What meditation does and what it facilitates is for you to obtain a state of equanimity and a sense of being able to just cope and handle things when they come your way. So when the wave is coming, you're riding the wave and you're enjoying it. But when that wave crashes, you enjoy the tumble as well, because you know and you understand fully that one cannot take place without the other. And by that, I guess, experience, you get to appreciate both the lows as well as the highs, and you start to equalize or reach a state of equanimity or greater equilibrium, if I can use that term as well. So it boosts your focus and your memory, absolutely scientifically proven. So because it elevates and increases the gray matter physically within your brain, and the gray matter is responsible for elevating your focus, learning new abilities, and for elevating your memory, or for helping you maintain your memory. So it's something really powerful for the brain. Like I said, it's like lifting weights at the gym, but for your brain. So whenever you sit down to meditate, perhaps a very powerful visual that I can leave you with here is that I want you to be seated and put a little smile on your face, which is another form of a meditation that is very popular in Bali, where it's known as smiling meditation. Sounds very easy, very challenging. And imagine yourself literally like you would go to the gym, and I want you to imagine your little brain with little hands and skinny little legs. And it can have sneakers on, or hey, it can even be barefoot. And I want you to imagine that your brain, your beautiful, wondrous brain, is there lifting the weights, taking those dumbbells and working those arms, and even maybe doing some squats, strengthening those legs. And perhaps that cute little visual image will motivate you, or at least remind you of that is exactly what is happening within your mental state and your physical brain, this stuff here. Some other benefits: it increases self-awareness. So because you are focused on observing, just observing without needing to change anything, observing the state of your breath, and not only that, but observing how your breath affects how your body feels and how it reacts, and in turn observing how your physical body affects your breath. So when you meditate for a relatively long period of time, trust me, there will be some form of discomfort or dis-ease that will begin to reveal itself within your physical vessel. And that in turn will start to have an impact on what starts to happen in the mind, with the thoughts, the images, the experiences, the memories for days. You'll have all the past stuff coming up to just chat to you again and again and again. And you just have to observe and remind yourself to come back to the breath. So it's a real reset that needs to take place all of the time. And this really begins to foster greater degree of awareness, what's happening in relation to the breath and the body, and the body and the breath. So it's a really form of connection in that sense, and fostering self-awareness. It enhances creativity. So because of all the wondrous stuff that's happening in the brain, and the little brain's going to the gym and lifting up those dumbbells and doing those squats, It's really going to expand and assist in helping the brain and making it healthier and developing new neural networks and pathways. So not only will it enhance your creativity, but it also assists with the neuroplasticity in the brain. And that's the stuff that assists the brain in keeping on forming new connections and neural pathways, and that it doesn't get lazy and sluggish and short-circuiting all the time. It kind of like is a bit of a disruption and forces the brain to work really hard. And just like when you go to the gym, your muscles break down, the fibers break down, but then they rebuild themselves. So the same thing is happening inside your brain when you are meditating. It lowers your blood pressure as well as your heart rate. So initially, it's quite interesting because if you have experienced some degree of trauma, and of course the degree of trauma is also very important to note, when you start to meditate, you might actually feel that because of that elevated anxiety and that elevated stress, that you may suddenly begin to notice. It just means that you're beginning to be aware of it. It doesn't mean that it's never existed. Trust me, it's existed. You've just been operating on automatic, or you've been overriding the sensations or the thoughts within your mind or within the body, because the body holds memory, especially within the fascial system. And now that you're forced to sit and still and be present, the noise is suddenly elevated and ramped up, and it may feel like your heart begins to race faster, or the noise begins to elevate, and that begins to cause your heart to go faster, or whatever sensations are beginning to become evident in the body. But it's just because you're taking the time to be present in the here and now moment that you're becoming aware of what is actually happening in the body. And I guess that's the tough part, right? Because most of the time we want to run from that shit. We're like, whoa, bitch, I don't want to feel that crap, okay? I want to feel happy, and I don't want to feel that uncomfortableness and the burning, and I don't want to have to sit with all of that stuff. I would actually just rather go scrolling and just check some videos, because that preoccupation is just so much better. You know what I mean? So yes, you will feel some of these things. And initially it always feels like there's a storm before the calm. And meditation for me is no different. In fact, the storm can be very loud and very windy, and it can be a full force hurricane coming through. But if you stick it out and you're willing to hold on to that tree that you're beginning to foster and root into, man, the benefits can outweigh, or yeah, it can just be, that's what I understand by bliss. The peace that you feel and the ease within your physical body and within your mental state will surpass and outweigh any of the initial challenges that you may face. So what else does it do? Meditation also improves your sleep. It boosts your immune system. It reduces pain. And this was interesting. So it reduces pain because you foster a greater elevation or receptivity to tolerating pain. So when something tough comes your way, you don't just shy away from it, or you redirect, or you numb yourself out, or you switch off. You are so anchored in being able to ground that sensation, and you know that you'll be able to let anything that comes your way pass by, and trust in the knowingness of your body to anchor you into the earth, and for you to just keep breathing through those sensations. That yes, it does definitely assist in pain reduction on a physical level, but more importantly, it's because the mind is overriding a lot of what the chatter is telling you within what you think pain is, and what perhaps it isn't. So what else do I want to share in terms of the benefit? It enhances emotional regulation, and like I've discussed, it elevates neuroplasticity. So I'm already 19 minutes into this video and I haven't even started telling you about my journey. I began, if you're still here and you're still sticking around, congrats. It clearly means that your energy is in some shape, way, or form aligned and you're receptive to receiving my energy. So I would just like to honor you for that, and I see you. There will be many people that drop off. In fact, there are many people that drop off the first 3 seconds because they don't like the way I look, or they don't like the tone of my voice, or the background isn't pretty enough, or the hair isn't done up, or there's no makeup. But the fact that you're still here, I guess, warrants me sharing quite a vulnerable journey to, and what is my meditation journey. It's still ongoing and probably will be ongoing until I take my last breath physically on this earthly plane. But yes, how did my meditation journey start? And what has it had, or what impact has it had on my life? So I guess meditation or meditating started for me, or I really became aware of it viscerally in 2009. And I was 29 at the time, and there was a big turning point that happened in my life, and I went on a course. It was actually a series of trilogy of courses, but it was the very first course that I did where I guess I gained some form of awakening, if I can use that term. And it was quite a rigorous and challenging course. It's one of those courses where they feel like they need to break you down so they can build you up. If you've done any of those, you'll know exactly what I'm speaking about. So it can be quite challenging, but very rewarding at the end. Not for everyone, but I guess because I'm a Capricornian and I'm a mountain goat, I perhaps appreciate the climb. So this fabulous course that I did, I never forget, my moment of awakening came on, it was almost the final day of the course. And I remember waking up after a very challenging previous night of probably going to bed at 3 in the morning. I awoke in the sunrise, and I remember hearing the chirping of the birds. But it was in a way that I had never, in my 29 years of being on this planet, heard the birds chirping and speaking. Man, were they loud. They were chirping, and it was almost like I could understand what they were saying. And I would say that that was truly the moment where I remember viscerally awakening to my connection to Mother Nature and to this thing we call creation and divinity. And I guess that was the real onset or the start of this meditation journey for me. So I just want to share with you that meditation isn't just sitting down, closing the eyes, fingers together with your hands on your knees, oming and chanting. Yes, it can definitely be that. But there are many different forms of meditation. And like I shared with you before, meditation ultimately is something that should be fostered in every breathing moment, every inhalation and exhalation of every moment of the day. But for the premise of this discussion, I guess I want to discuss that there are different types of meditation. There's something that's known as active meditation, and there's something that's known as passive meditation. So active meditation for me would be something like embodying dancing and moving and being physically active within the body. So listening to those birds chirping and tweeting for me was quite an active state of meditation. But I was very cognizantly aware of my environment and what was happening, more so than I'd ever been before. And a passive state can be definitely seated, calm, focused on the breath. There's also open-eyed meditation and closed-eyed meditation. So open-eyed meditation is when you take the time to stop and look at the most beautiful flower, and perhaps you're fortunate enough to see a little honeybee curled up inside the little inside the little flower, taking a bit of a rest, or it can be concentrating and putting all your awareness and focus in a humble cucumber slice that you're just observing and taking complete and full reference of. It can even be, meditation can even be practiced when you're eating and you are chewing your food mindfully, slowly, consciously, and you're completely aware of every moment. You're not just shoveling in and just appreciating the sensations and flavors. You're very mindful and intentional with what you're doing. And then there's the closed eye meditation, which, yes, I think that pretty much speaks for itself. So my journey, as I said, started off, I guess, with the birds and then proceeded to going into the closed eye meditation and began to take form in chanting and listening to guided meditations, and through YouTube and through all the forms and mediums that I could get my hands on free meditations or guided meditations. There's a magnificent app known as Headspace. It's really quirky and cute. And that was also another medium that I initially started off with, just to start off. And I started off small. I started off with 5 minutes and then went to 10 minutes and then 15 minutes. And then before you know it, I was, I was signing up for a 10, but it's more like a 12-day meditation in the mountains. Quite literally, you are completely removed and remote. Your cell phone, you hand in your cell phone, you have no form of communication. You can't speak to anyone on this meditation retreat. Your food is breakfast and lunch and nothing thereafter. Vegetarian meal. You get woken up at 4 in the morning, go to bed at 9 p.m. in the evening, and you meditate for a full time of 12 hours every day whilst you are on this retreat. So I guess that for me was the real stamp and certificate of meditation. So it was known as Vipassana meditation, and that's the meditation I referenced to that the Buddha used to achieve enlightenment. And essentially, it's just focusing on, for the first 3 days, you focus on the sensations within the nose and the air passing in and out of the left and the right nostril. And you just become aware of this small sensational area over here. And then after the 3 days, once the monkey mind has quietened a bit and the noise has silenced just a bit, you then start to begin a body scan. So they teach you day by day to begin from the crown and scan the body all the way down, all parts of the body down into past the thighs, knees, and over to the feet, and then coming back up again. And it's quite a rigorous process. So it sounds so simple, and the practice is very simple, but it doesn't mean that it's very easy. So what did I experience on that meditation or that workshop? I got to experience how much at that time anger I was holding in my physical vessel and body. The burning that was taking place in certain parts of the body were very evident that those were the parts that I had at some point received some form of trauma. Some I could remember having happened, and others, unbeknown to me, I wasn't sure why I was getting a burning sensation here or there or everywhere. But there were definitely moments and experiences where I remember why the burn was arising. And it was so interesting just to observe what thoughts and what energies and what people came through as I was at this workshop. And it was just the most beautiful and empowering form of meditation or course that at that time I had ever fostered or embarked on. It was truly a beautiful experience. You do it completely on your own. This is a solo ride. You're not relying on anybody else. Yes, it's guided by Gwinga. I can't recall the exact initials. And of course, there is a wonderful human who is physically present, but they are literally just there to guide, support you if you need it. And what else do I guess I want to share with you that arose out of this? I guess I got to walk out of this course understanding how connected we are to nature. If I thought I was connected to nature when I first heard those birds, this was just taking it to another level. I truly got to embody the mountains that I was surrounded by, like viscerally within my body. And if you've experienced this, you'll know fully what I mean. If you haven't, then you might, just like when you read something out of a book, you understand the theory, but you don't understand the anchoring of the energetics and the experience. But I trust that you'll get to experience in some shape, way, or form. So yes, I got to embody the mountains. Like I could feel I was the mountain. I was strong. I was solid. I was anchored. And I got to feel the fire that was in me. So all of this burning and the rising of the phoenix was definitely something that I felt on a visceral level. So the rising of the phoenix was definitely there. And I got to, through this process, especially that burn, I got to acknowledge and see how powerful we are. We are such powerful beings. I truly got to feel how the burning and the fire that was raging within me was burning away all the impurities, all of the diseases, all the energetic blocks and stagnation that was inside my body. It really, really did. At least that's what I experienced and that's what I felt. And the fact that I was able to feel it and not run away from it was just such an empowering experience. And it made me reflect on the passage, or when Jesus is going through the desert, for when he's fasting for 40 days just before his crucifixion. There's a passage where it talks about Jesus walking through the desert and being, I guess, what's the right word, where the devil comes to him and I guess tries to, I'm struggling to find the word, which is interesting. Not tease, but taunt or torment, and it says how Jesus has to walk through the fires of hell in order to reach the other side and reach the gates of heaven, something along those lines. I'm probably butchering it, but I'm sure you are familiar with the sentiment which I'm trying to share with you. And that was exactly what I got to feel and experience. And I got to realize and see how powerful and just how wondrous these physical vessels are, and how wondrous we are just as a human being. So I know everyone wants to be a superhuman, but as Satguru says, being human is super. And I got to truly embody and feel that. And what else, I guess, do I want to share? So it was a very powerful experience, Vipassana meditation in good old, in the mountains of the Cape in South Africa. Highly recommended if this speaks to you or resonates in any shape, way, or form. Definitely something to put on your bucket list. It's way up, it's right up there with skydiving and bungee jumping and shark cage diving. In fact, it's probably better than some of those things. So I guess, and then post that, I guess as life has it, different tools come your way, breathing techniques come your way, which is also very much part of meditation. Affirmations are also very much part of my meditation practice in terms of just reprogramming the mind and settling the mind. I do barefoot walking, which for me is another form of meditation. And I've even recorded a session on that, yesterday's session, which was episode 8. So check that out if barefoot walking, or meet my bare feet as the episode is titled, resonates with you. And yes, I guess what else do I wish to share with you on this wonderful topic? We've gone 33 minutes and almost turning into 34. I think in honoring your time and honoring my time, I think that I've shared all that I wish to share with you. If you have any thoughts or comments or any experiences that you want to share, drop them down in the comments. I would absolutely love to hear and share about those experiences, and see also who's on this journey with me. And yes, until tomorrow's episode, Remember to keep sowing those seeds, allowing the flow to take place so that you can continue to grow and elevate your glow. Until episode 10, I'll see you tomorrow. Stay magical, keep shining your unique light, and live prosperously. Cheers.